This week, we're going to talk about the difference between and how it's a common mistake that we see in Python code. Welcome to another MetPy Monday. Hello, I'm John Lehman, a software engineer for NSF Unidata. This week, I want to continue in the theme of common errors that we see, especially when people are learning to code, but errors that we've also seen from people that have been writing Python for a while. And we're going to look at the difference between and, which is really an order of operations issue in Python. So first, let's imagine that we want to compare 12 times 9 and see if that is less than 8 times 100. And it is. No surprise there, and I often see code written like this. Well, are the parentheses necessary? You know, a lot of times we see people put them in because, well, they're not sure. So let's try it. 12 times 9 is less than 8 times 100. We still get the same answer. So the parentheses are not required here because the multiplication operation has a higher order of precedence than the comparison operation. So you don't have to have the parentheses in that case. Now what if I want to take two statements that have some sort of comparison in them and see if both of them are true? Okay, so 10 is less than 12, and 9 is less than 12. We know that both of these statements are true, so when we take true and true, the result should be true. So what about now? Well, let's do it without parentheses. It's still true. Everything still holds in that the and has the lower precedence. You can look up the order of operations for Python, just like we are used to using PEMDAS for our math. There's the same thing, but extended in Python, because we have all these logical and bitwise operators. Okay, so what about now? If I take 10 is less than 12, and I use the ampersand symbol, which a lot of people would read as and as well, we get true. And I see a lot of people use this syntax. Now I do it without parentheses, and I get a false. So why is that? Well, the ampersand is actually a bitwise operator, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means in just a second. But know that it has a higher order of precedence than the comparison operators here. So what we're really doing is saying 10 is less than 12, that is bitwise anded, with 9 less than 12, which is also false. So you might be saying, well, what's 12 bitwise anded with 9? And it's 8. And that may be kind of confusing if you haven't done a lot with binary math. So the quick way to show what the bitwise operator does is to look at actual bits. Let's look at how these bitwise operators work. So I'm going to have 4 ones and 4 zeros. I'm going to perform a bitwise AND with 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. And I want to display that result as binary so we can see what's happening. And we see with the AND, where we have a 1 in both positions, 1 and 1 evaluates to 1. Where we have a 1 and a 0, 1 and 0 is 0. So it's literally going through the number bit by bit and doing this AND operation. That's why it's different than just the logical AND, which is where we spell out AND. There are a few other operators that you might find useful. The pipe symbol is OR, which is where one position or the other. is a 1. And we can also use the caret, which is the exclusive OR. So you might be saying, well, when would I ever use these? There's a lot of times where we're doing some sort of masking operation because we're dealing with maybe an algorithm where it's easier to shift bits or use a bit mask like we're doing here to mask out part of a number. That's when you would really use the bitwise operators. When you're doing comparisons, you should really be using the logical operators. Though if you use parentheses in the right spot, you can get effective evaluation. This is where we see some people struggle to find bugs in their code because they're just using the wrong operator. Maybe they saw it one way and didn't really realize that there's a difference between bitwise and logical. I hope that you found this useful, and I'll see you on next week's MetPy Monday.